Welcome to Insight with Moonshadow. I am Moonshadow. I am an integrative holistic therapist, and I work with many different people using multiple modalities to help facilitate mind, body, and spirit balance or healing. Welcome, Pamela. And I want to thank everyone that's in the room. Thank you so much for coming. It's so important that we bring this stuff to the conversation, because in doing that, we are more aware and self-aware of our surroundings, ourselves, and this way we become healthier, better, and we're more efficient within ourselves. Welcome, Veronica. Now, the body, mind, and spirit connection, a lot of times we don't always, okay, we have, 1 second, Veronica coming in. Hey,
Hi.
Veronica.
Hello.
How you doing?
Good. Okay.
So today we're talking about the mind, body, and spirit connection, and how it is really, really, really important that we're aware of the connection. Now, a lot of times we find ourselves being physically ill and not knowing why, because we take decent care of ourselves, or we're just not feeling right on a spiritual end or on an emotional end. So if you notice, with the mind, body, and spirit connection, we have there's a very small, it's almost like there's a very, very, very small sensitive connection between all three bodies, if you will, mind, body, and spirit, because our physical bodies, we have, you go to the doctor and get that checked out. However, a lot of times when you get physically ill, you don't necessarily know why you're physically ill. It could be that you're tired. It could be that you didn't work out. It could be that you're run down. It could be stress. And this is why the importance is so huge, to be able to be self-aware of your life and your body and who you are. So now let's just start off with the body first, I guess. So now your body, you have to obviously eat well, the best you can, and take good care of your physical self. If you don't take good care of your physical self, then you start getting sick. You start getting colds. You get sore throats. You get different things and ailments that happen. So it's good to be aware or self-aware of your body and how you take care of it. Now, that's the one piece that we all know about. We all know what we're supposed to do. We all know how to take care of our bodies for the most part. We know we should work out more. We know we should have a better diet. We know we should eat less, fatty food or whatever. All of that stuff is it's pretty well known. However, a lot of times we neglect and forget the mental state and the spiritual state. Now, the mental state is just basically your attitude. It's what you're thinking. So you notice if you're having a bad day and one little thing happens, it's that much worse. Hey, Rye, what's up, man? It's that much worse. So if you think about it, your mental state is key to be balanced. So you want to balance all three aspects of who you are. And when you do that, you become stronger.
I have to go.
Okay, no problem. We're going to send you over to chat, and you can pop into the seat in a bit. And thank you for coming, popping in. But so basically, this is a very delicate connection between all aspects of your body and your mind and your spirit. So now you notice if you are having a really bad day mentally, you're stressed out, you notice people don't really bother you. You notice people don't really bug you because you're projecting, don't mess with me. That's your mental state. You're projecting that energy. So now if you're not feeling well mentally, other things eventually, if you don't cope or you don't address those things, you're going to end up affecting your body, and you're going to affect your spirit. So now let's just bring up your spirit for a second, or soul. Now, spirit doesn't necessarily mean religion. Welcome, Stephanie. It doesn't necessarily mean religion or spirituality. Soul or spirit is, a lot of it is the spark that gives us life. That's that electrical component that keeps our heart beating. That's all the involuntary stuff that keeps us going. So now, a lot of times people think in mind, body, and spirit, oh, that's some, that's metaphysical stuff. And they don't look at it from whether it's against, it could be against their religion or things to that degree. But it's our energy. It's our bioelectric energy. It's that spark that makes us go, that makes us do that involuntary way that we get up. We wake up every morning. It's like, you don't have to be always focused on your lungs opening and breathing in and breathing out. We do it involuntarily. Do the same thing with your heartbeat. It's involuntary. And part of that is that spark of your soul that really helps you function. So now, all of this really ties in to who we are as people. So if you have the component of taking really good care of your physical self, if you're someone that you work out every day religiously, you're like hardcore working out every day, now that can be great. You could be physically, you could be like, you could be huge physically. You could be like incredibly, you could eat right and everything. That's fantastic. That is the way to be. That's the way to do it. However, if your mental state, if your mind state doesn't match your physical well-being, there's going to be an interrupt. There's going to be some form of imbalance. So now, for example, we have a fighter. We have a fighter in this room, and I'm honored to have him in the room. And Dino is a fighter, prize fighter as well. So now, physically, you have to have the right mindset. You have to have the right attitude. You have to have the right physical well-being. And you have to have the right spirit, soul, drive, passion. All those things are key. Now, if you're physically ready, but you mentally psych yourself out, yeah, you'll be taking an unwanted nap for sure. Someone will help you take a nap, right? So this is part of it. If you are not ready physically, then you're gonna suffer. If you're not ready mentally, you're gonna suffer. If you're not ready energetically or spiritually, you're gonna suffer. And a lot of this people don't realize. It's like, why do I have a cold? Well, first of all, you've been stressed out. You could have been stressed out for the past month about a certain something or someone or a life situation or that kind of thing. Eventually, what's going to happen is this. If you are tapped out energetically, it's slowly but surely going to creep in, and you're not addressing it. It's going to eventually get in and creep in till it turns into a physical manifestation. And this is something that people don't figure. They don't track this, because there are tons of times I'm working with somebody, as an example, there was somebody that wanted to lose weight, and they tried everything, working out, eating the right foods, everything. Now, some of it was heredity, with having extra weight. However, a lot of it was something that their doctor and their therapist didn't figure out, because they didn't go there. So when I consulted with them and I worked with them, I said, okay, what's been going on? Getting a baseline. What's happening in your life right now? And this person said, well, it's been pretty stressful and that kind of thing. And they explained a lot of their life circumstances that were going on at the time. Even though they're working out, they're eating well, they're doing all of that, but not 1 pound was lost. So at that point, that's where intuitive ability comes in. That's where being prepared to go out of the box to get a real understanding of what's going on with that person. And then at that point I had said, okay, well, have you ever seen, and this is a good question for all of you, have you ever seen a thin lumberjack or a skinny lumberjack? I've never seen a little lumberjack. They're always jacked up, man. They're always huge. You know what I mean? They're built, they can pick up logs, they can do all that because they're used to heavy lifting. So now this person, when I ask this person this question, I'm like, no, of course, they're always big. They're always strong, you know? I said, okay, well, have you thought maybe that you're carrying that emotional baggage that you're carrying could be stopping and impeding you from losing weight? They never thought about that stuff. And this is where the mind, body, spirit connection comes in. So they said, okay, well, how do I stop worrying? How do I stop doing this? So I gave her a few techniques. She started a journal, a daily journal, so she can get everything out to address those things. Within the first 30 days, she lost 15 pounds. Not changing anything other than the fact of her still working out moderately and eating well, but she added that bit of taking care of her mental state, making sure that she didn't let things bother her so much. And when she did that, she lost 15 pounds in the first month. I think it was like month to 6 weeks. She lost 15 pounds. Now, how crazy is that? To lose weight just from changing your thinking. Hey, Carlos. So this is the point. There's a real need for us to be responsible and aware of how we function, how we act, how we look, how we cope. Because if you hold everything in, you could go ahead and think that holding everything, I thrive on stress. That's another client I had. I thrive on stress. The person had high blood pressure. You would never tell by looking at their physical body because they looked like they were pretty physically fit. But the thing was, their stress they were holding inside. They were manifesting this stress deep inside them. And it was causing problems. You can cause heart problems. It can cause respiratory problems. It can make you get colds. This is all the lack or the imbalance of having that connection. Like if there's anybody that tends to, I'm not sure if there's anybody that tends to have colds or sore throats. Is there anybody in the room that tends to have them more often? Okay, Laura. Now, as an example, if someone tends to not speak up enough, they're holding things back, what happens? That energy's got to go somewhere. So if we are focusing on the mind, body, and spirit connection, and that spirit is, that soul, that energy is caught up or blocked up in your throat because you don't speak up, then what's going to happen? It's going to manifest into something. And when it manifests, it can manifest into sore throats. There are tons of people that I've worked with that they get sore throats, they get colds all the time. Why? They have a hard time taking things in. So a lot of that, just by having the right mindset and taking proper precautions, that could be the whole difference. That could be the complete whole difference when you are taking care of yourself. So self-care is key. But when you're taking care of yourself, if you only work out, then you're only going to be taking care of one aspect of you. That's like you jumping in the shower and washing the tip of your nose. The rest of you needs a shower, but you're just washing the tip of your nose. Oh, that's fantastic. You could have a real clean nose, but the rest of you is being ignored. So trying to be responsible and thorough, and you can be responsible with your words, your actions, your energy, how you show yourself to the world, being real, being yourself. That in itself can cause problems. If you're not yourself and you're afraid or nervous or anxious about not being yourself with others, then you feel like you don't matter, or you're not important, what happens? It's going to manifest into something. So this is part of the reason why I'm bringing this conversation to, to Insight, to my show. Because if you're not responsible for those things, if you're not aware of those things, if you're not mindful of these things, then what happens is you're going to end up unwell, or you're going to end up diseased, as I say. It's lack of ease, unbalanced. Something is going to affect you in a bad way. So if you have a bad day, to start off your bad day, say for example, hey Herbie, how you doing, man? You start off, say for example, let's just run a scenario. I wake up in the morning, get up, and you know what? All of a sudden, you get a disturbing phone call. Now that could set the tone of the day if you allow it, right? So now you go out and you go grab a coffee somewhere. You go to the latest Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts or wherever, and then all of a sudden you pass on that negative energy or that negative mindset or that anxiety to the person behind the counter because they didn't get your coffee right. Now, guess what happens? It's the ripple effect. They're going to go and that's going to happen. Now they're going to pass it on, maybe to their coworkers, maybe to their partner when they get home, their kids, or whoever. Now, let's rewind this for a second. I wake up and I have a disturbing phone call. I focus on it. I look at it and I say, okay, that phone call sucked. But it is 8 o'clock in the morning and I don't want this to mess up my day because I got a lot to do. I got things to accomplish. So at that point, you change your mindset. You reset. You say, okay, the phone call is what it was, but I'm not going to let this bother me. You take a nice deep breath, and we're going to talk about techniques too along the show as well to help counteract any kind of negative manifestations in your body and your mind and your spirit. So now you do that. So you do a reset. You do a rethink. Take a breath. And now you're not subjecting anybody else to your grief or your anxiety. So now you find that, say something else goes down the road. Something else happens. You ran out of gas. Now you're like, oh crap, now I'm running out of gas. You notice if you're in a good mental state, you run out of gas, you're like, oh well, I didn't really want to go to my appointment anyway. As opposed to, oh, what the hell? And you start swearing and yelling and you get really stressed out, which is not good. So ultimately, the reason why I'm bringing this conversation in is because if we are more prepared or more try to be as balanced as we can, and you can't be perfect all the time, you can't be doing it all the time. All of us have good days and bad days, of course, but trying to stay as balanced as you can with all these aspects of who you are. Can you guys still see me? Hopefully you can. I can still see me. Okay, good. So just I just refresh Lance if you have to, because I don't see you in the room at all. So yes, I see you back in the room. Welcome back. But see, these are the things. If we are more aware and mindful of our footprint, who we are, our identity, the way we cope with things, if we're more aware of it, then you can find yourself stronger. Things aren't going to bother you so much. You'll be able to, oh, well, I'm glad you're back. I'm glad you sorted out, man. So you're going to be able to do more and to be more connected, and you're going to be stronger. This is the big thing. The stronger, now there's good and bad to being fully connected to your mind, body, and spirit. Because as soon as you really connect and really embrace and you really overlap all three bodies, it takes a lot less time for it to affect you. So that's the key, right? So it takes a lot less time for it to affect you because you don't have that buffer between the interrupt between one to the next. So you notice anybody that does yoga or anybody that does they're a fitness trainer or they're someone that's a therapist, they're always checking themselves. Any of the good ones anyway. They're always checking themselves. They're reassessing things. Because if you have the start of something, it's going to manifest so much faster. So you have to be even more mindful. And unfortunately, it's good or bad or indifferent. You can choose how you choose it, but it's actually in the long run and the end result, it's actually better that you're in tune with yourself than not. Okay, so is everything still cool tech wise here? Okay, just making sure. There's been some glitches lately, so we got to make sure of that. Yes, I'm not stressing. Take a deep breath. It's all good. So, that's the case, now being mindful, being connected, then you're going to find yourself being stronger. You're going to find yourself being able to cope with things a lot better. You're going to find yourself knowing that you can handle things. Where you were in the past, you're going to notice that it is the past, and you're going to be more connected with who you are today, living more in the moment. So that's also part of it as well. Now, there are a few things, I'm going to run through a few things that you could do to strengthen that connection between your mind, body, and spirit. Now, of course, there's exercise, for example. Exercise is key. And you don't have to go to the gym 4 times a week or anything like that. It just move your body. Take a walk. Get away from the computer every now and then. That's important. Take it. Yeah, I'm sure. It's easy to kind of sit still. Walk the dog. Absolutely. When you go outside to get the mail, walk down the street, walk up the street. You know what I mean? Smell, take in the atmosphere, take in the surroundings. Look around your neighborhood. So, hey, so all of this really is really important. So exercise. Even if you take a walk, like for example, one of the things I do is if I go to a store, I drive to a store, because not everything's walking distance, I will purposely park further away so I can make myself walk. Like if I go to the mall, I'm not picking the first parking spot right next to the door, because that makes you be more mindful of your physical body, and that helps. With my job, we had an elevator, and we also had a set of stairs. We were on the 3rd floor. I took the stairs every day. The only reason why I would take the elevator is if I was working with someone that was in a wheelchair or was not as mobile, or if they used a cane or something like that, or if they're older. That's when I would use the elevator. I'd go with them on the elevator, and I'd still go back up the stairs after the fact. And that's key, and that's going to help you. You wouldn't believe that you could lose a couple of pounds just by doing that alone. So exercise, big, huge, important thing of exercise. Now, also, now looking at the mind aspect of things, it's good to be grateful and appreciative of what you have. And life isn't perfect all the time, but it's good to be appreciative and grateful for what you do have. You could have it worse. Your life could be much worse than it is. And believe me, if I told you the stuff that's been going on, you'd be like, how is he this calm, cool, and collected? Trust me when I tell you, it's work. It is work to stay focused. And it's not that I'm a big guru or a yogini. I can't put a skewer through my arm or anything like that. It'd be nice to do, but not yet. You never know. But it takes work. It takes that strength and conviction to be able to maintain the balance. So be grateful. Try to be as happy as you can be. Not every day is going to be that way, but try to maintain some form of mental balance within yourself. That's key. It's really, really important. Also, sleep. Now, I'm the worst person to say this because I don't get a whole lot of sleep. But sleep is so important. And Carlos, you're absolutely right. It also helps to be surrounded by positive people, positive folks. Absolutely. We don't sleep enough as a people. And I know we're very global here. We have people from all over the world in this room. We don't take very good care of ourselves. And I will admit, I could take a lot better care of myself as well. But you have to try to remain as mindful as possible to that. If you don't get enough sleep, that's going to affect you as well. That can make you sick. You can get your immune system starts to crash. You can get colds. You can get allergies. You can get all kinds of things happening to you. So sleep is important. And if you don't get a lot of sleep, stopping and taking a pause, taking a break, looking at yourself and saying, you know what? Take a break. Just take a minute. A lot of my clients, like I would be like on my way to an appointment, and a lot of my regular clients, if I was running 10, 15 minutes late, they were like, okay, Moon, what happened? You stopped, you know, you stop to see the sunrise? And this is one occasion that I actually did stop to see the sunrise because it was a later in the afternoon, early evening appointment. And I said, well, funny that you say that. Yeah, I did catch the sunrise and I took pictures. Want to see? So, but the point was, it was an even better appointment. It was even better consult. Reason being is because I was in a good frame of mind and balanced and feeling good. And I passed that energy on to the next person. So that's important. So sleep, getting plenty of rest, breathing. Believe it or not, breathing is huge. Do you notice when you're stressed, you don't breathe? You don't breathe. You're stressed out. You're like, you don't breathe. You don't take it in. You don't release anything. You hold it stuff in. You're not letting it go. No problem, Laura. But that's the thing. So when you're not breathing, taking things in, letting things out, getting rid of things, you can gain mental, physical, and spiritual or energetic clutter. No different than you can clutter your spare room. So these are all important things. Also grounding yourself. A lot of times people find themselves kind of not tethered to anything. And I've mentioned this technique before, that near the office and the agency I was working for at the time, I used to go and I used to touch this big, huge oak tree that was growing out of, the sidewalk every day because it was a stressful time. I would touch that tree before walking in, and I'd say a little affirmation. Affirmation's a key as well. Let things go in and let them come out, because ultimately, do you have control of it? Do you have control of that situation? You don't always have control of anything. Things happen constantly, but how you cope with them, how you deal with it is really the important part. Welcome, Steinecker. So that's important. So grounding, being focused in the present. Now, things in the past, there are things in the past that happen to you, and sometimes we hold on to them. You gotta take it, breathe in, breathe out, let it go, because it's gone. It can't change anymore because it's history. But you can take care of things now. You can focus on things as they are presently. You can't change that bad relationship you had in high school. It's come and gone. But you can change how you deal with your boyfriend or girlfriend now. You could be more mindful of it now, right? And if you think about it, if you're in the present now and you're taking care of your mind and you're being more physical and you're getting plenty of sleep and you're grounding yourself, and again, it doesn't take much. You can go ahead and look on the internet and look up information. There are books. I don't have any books to suggest at the moment. Actually, I do have a book I can suggest. It's called Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life, by Louise Hay. Very good book. And it's a book that gives you a list of all kinds of dis-ease and unwellness. See? And Kristen has it. It's a phenomenal, phenomenal book. And that's also going to bring you into more of what mind, body, spirit wellness is. So the reason for this show today is I find that people are have a lot of angst, and people, they're so wound up about things. And it's unfortunate that we let this stuff get to us in such a way that it can cause heart disease, it can cause cancer, it can cause infertility. I had an ex-girlfriend of mine many, many years ago. She was in college and she'd be freaking out. She was freaking out and stressed over midterms. She started losing clumps of hair, and she had a gorgeous head of hair, long curly hair. And she started losing clumps of it. Nothing else in her life was going wrong or weird. We were doing fine as well. In fact, I'm still in touch with her. So it was nothing else was going on except the midterms. I said, "What are you stressing about?" And she was stressing about midterms, about making the grade, about passing the course, because it was an extremely challenging course. And so as soon as we worked through that, I helped her with some meditation and some mind stuff, and working with just breathing, some breathing techniques before taking the test. She did really well with the course, and she no longer shed so much of her hair. So that counteracted everything. So these are all important bits that, if you just really think about it, if you're just more mindful, and I know I've said mindful, but we're not mindful enough. We let things bombard us. We let things alter us. We let things bug us till we are ready to lose it, and it doesn't help us. So with that being said, sometimes it takes a minute, just to take a breath and say, okay, do I have any control of the situation? I really don't. Okay, so let's take a breath and let's try to get through this the best we can. Yep, use the mind correctly to help maintain balance. Don't let the mind use us. Exactly, because ultimately, if you're not giving enough attention to either one of those parts of you, that's, like I said, like washing just the tip of your nose in the shower. You got to take care of all of you. Also, there's vitamins and things like that you can also do as well. Get a checkup, get a yearly checkup with your doctor. Try to maintain yourself the best you can. And there are people that have health issues. I've worked with people that have had health issues, and you know what? They still would walk. They have a cane or a walker, and I'd get them out walking, and they would feel good. Now, Veronica is saying that she's taking a free course of mindfulness at Monash University. That's awesome. So she's counteracting, and it's free and it's online. You know what? That is fantastic. If you can, please do drop the link into the room. There you go, futurelearn.com. So make a point of copying that or taking the tab and bookmarking it, because it may be helpful. Now, I'd like to give some time for questions, or if anyone would like to share their experience with either the strong connection or the not so strong connection between their mind, body, and spirit, and just how they dealt with it. If they have techniques that they use, anything like that, feel free to hop in the chat, or you can also ask questions or share in the chat, or hop in the seat. Like Pamela works with aromatherapy. Good example. Hey Beth, welcome. Using aromatherapy, you can use a couple of a few drops of something. Like I like using eucalyptus oil a lot. I really like the smell, and B, it opens up everything. It's just really a, a clear opening of who you are. And it also, if you have a cold, if you just smell the eucalyptus, it is really killer. And we're going to let Pamela in.
Moonshadow
Hey, Pamela.
topic
Ooh,
today.
there you go.
I love the topic because not only do I have the eucalyptus handy and I'm smelling it, aromatherapy also works on the mind, body, and soul. And it really does and is a preventative measure for those persons who have that problem with sleep and anxiety and stress. And for me, I find that sometimes, I don't know how you say this, if the mind tells you something and you don't act, I find it to be a negative response or negative effect.
Yes.
But if I follow that voice or that instinct, it benefits or it works out in my favor. And it's happened on more than one occasion. So now I know that something is right.
So also too, if you have any questions regarding aromatherapy, Pamela also has an aromatherapy show here on Blab as well. And you can ask her and follow her and ask questions as well, because all of us have strengths. All of us have our tools. So it's something where if you know that you need a certain thing, you need help with a certain thing, reach out to people. Think about it. Be mindful about it. Be responsible for yourself. People blame, oh, my job's killing me. Well, yeah, it's killing you because you're letting it kill you. How's that? It's not always good.
True.
So what would you say would be a good essential oil for people to start with if they just want to relax or just get to a point of just taking a minute? Like if there's one essential oil or blend, would you suggest? So just so someone could just...
Off the top of my head, to relax, I would go with my eucalyptus and peppermint, but I love that combination. But for sleep, because I noticed a number of your persons in the chat were saying they only get like 4 hours sleep or what have you, I would go with lavender because it's soothing and it relaxes the body. It quiets the mind.
I actually have a lavender spray that
really?
it's like a linen spray, and it's aromatherapy. And what I'll do is I will spray my pillow with it before I lay down, and then it's like, ooh, it's a nice smell and it kind of gets me started. Now, regarding sleep, everyone sleeps differently. So they say 6 to 8 hours. I have a friend that, if they sleep 14 hours, they feel great. If I slept 14 hours, I'd feel like a zombie. I wouldn't feel right. That's way too much sleep. With me, it's like 4 hours, 4 or 5 hours tops, and 5 hours is a good day.
I gotta have my 7, 8. Sorry, but
right. And
I
everybody
have a night, like we've had nights when we stayed up on Blab for 10 hours.
Yes.
Then I would spritz my pillow on my bed with a lavender spritz as well, and then I find that I would relax quicker.
And that's helpful as well. So this is all little things that you could do that don't take a lot of, even to meditate. A lot of people think meditation is like this big thing. You have to really concentrate. No, it's actually not even like that. I actually can meditate in my Jeep in between stoplights. Once you get used to it, in between stoplights. Now, if you're bumper to bumper traffic, you could be sitting screaming and yelling and chucking the finger and just being overall anxious and nasty and have road rage. Or you could take that moment and say, okay, you know what? I'm stuck here anyway. I can't turn anywhere, can't go anywhere. So let me think. I'm just going to take a nice deep breath. And you just focus, take a nice deep breath. And before you know it, the traffic starts to free up. You get to where you need to go without stress. A lot of that's so important.
Right. You're right.
It's really, really, really important to take proper care of yourself. And when you do take proper care of yourself, the more balanced you are, the more balanced people are around you.
True. And essential oils are great for balancing too, balancing your set chakras or mind, body, soul.
Now, is there a beginner book that you could mention for people?
There just happens to be.
She just had a blab before mine as well, and it was an aromatherapy blab, which I was in. So
there it is. Using essential oils, a beginner's guide. It's on my website, available today at a cost of $6.
Oh, fantastic! So you can check that out, and you can also check out her website as well.
Thank you so much for that, Moon.
Oh, no worries. It's all about sharing. How long is my stoplight? Well, it depends. If I'm in the city, it's like a stoplight every 10 feet, which is really annoying. But, I don't live in the city, and I try not to drive into the city as much as possible. I'm more of a shamanic dude, so honestly, I'd rather go to little mom and pop shops and be able to park somewhere and walk around. So that's so much more important to me anyway. But also too, if you're an urban person, you can still walk around. A lot of times you have parks and places that or gardens you can go to. So that's important as well.
I like to go to the beach for that quiet time.
Yeah, and that's key too. There's always some place you can go. You can find little gems, hidden gems. Like there is a little private beach that I know no one goes to because you have to actually walk through some forest and all that. But I love going there because I can sit there and be at peace. I can ground. I can just relax. And thank you so much, Laura, for that. I appreciate that. So all of this really makes a difference. And this isn't rocket science, people. This isn't that difficult. This is why I'm bringing this topic into our mindset, because once you start it, for example, there are a lot of people probably that take more showers than baths, right? Because you're in a hurry. We got to go. We got things to do, places to go, people to see. We got to work. We got to do this. We got to take the kids to soccer practice. We got to do this constantly, right? Now, just imagine this for a second. If you draw a bath, you got 20 minutes, half hour. Take the time to take care of yourself. You go ahead and you take a nice bath. You have a nice glass of wine. You can throw some music on. You're going to find yourself feeling like $1 million. You're going to find yourself being more attentive, easier to get along with. Everything is going to be so much better. Now, a little free tip. A little bit of moonsight for you guys. Hashtag moonsight is YouTube. If you want to try some guided visualizations, you can check out a lot of meditations and guided meditations on my website. But you can also go to YouTube. Look it up. There's binaural beats. There's all kinds of things to help you go within or reconnect with yourself, because we're not doing that enough. We're too busy kind of stripping ourselves away and then finding ourselves with nothing left. So there are a lot of resources. You could look at YouTube. And if you fall asleep when you play a YouTube video or music, what harm is that? You're going to sleep better. So you don't necessarily have to be awake for that either. I'm notorious for falling asleep during a YouTube video. I'll set up a nice Tibetan singing bell, singing bowl type scenario. And then before you know it, I'm like within 5 minutes, I'm like gone, Yes. Okay, we have someone coming in.
And I'm going to hop out in the chat.
All right. Thank you very much for popping in. Okay, we have Naja. Naja, come in. Welcome. Hopefully I can get in here. Oh, excellent. Okay, so let's just... How you doing?
Fine. My name is Najah Amin. I am from Morocco. I I native speak Arabic. I
Okay.
would like to learn English.
Okay. Well,
Yes.
this isn't the topic,
Uh,
but I can,
what's your
speak.
advice? What's your
To
advice to me to learn English?
learn English. Okay. Well, my
Yes,
advice to
yes,
you is to reach out, especially with Blab. You can reach out in Blab, and I would say
Blab,
host your
yes,
own Blab. I'd say host your own Blab and just title it, wanting to learn English, because
yes,
people will come in. There's also, if you find there are a lot of us that we frequent a lot of rooms, if we're just hanging out and it's a non-topic room, you can go ahead and come in and we can help you with that too. So ultimately, just reach out, but I have to say your English
yes,
is,
yes.
is pretty
Thank you.
good. So, okay. So now
Yes,
staying
thank
on
you.
topic, what do you do to relax? Naja, since you're in the chair, I might as well put you in the hot seat and ask you a question. What do you do to relax? Any techniques to share?
Sure.
Are you still there? Okay, we may have a little audio issue there. So I'm going to coax you back into the chat. But thank you for popping in, though, Naja. It was very nice hearing from you. Cool. Any other questions or anyone? Yeah, right. Jeopardy. Anybody else that wants to pop in? They want to share an experience, or let's see here. Kristen. Kristen is a very out of the box person. I'm sure she can share a technique that she utilizes to be able to relax. And she's also an artist as well. So, Kristen, would you like to pop in? Is she still in the room? Yeah, okay, still see her in the room. And she's also doing 100 days of dancing. This is one of her projects that she's doing. She might be away from her PC at the moment. But yes, it's so important to get movement, to focus on what can you do to make your day better. Now, anybody else that wants to pop in and share? Dino, would you like to pop in and share a story that helped you become more centered and balanced with your mind, body, and spirit connection? Okay, we're going to have Dino come in. Always a pleasure seeing you, Dino.
Hey there.
Hey, Dino.
Well, awesome. Well, I gotta say that a peace of mind for me is always reading. It gives me a peace of mind. And I guess back in 2009-ish or 2010, I was in LA and I went to this it's called SGA, Nichiren Buddhism. And
Awesome.
went in and listening to them doing that Nam-myoho Renge-kyo thing. It was kind of different to me because I never, heard that before, seen it. Well, I've heard it before on a movie with Angela Bassett when she did that movie.
Yeah.
But I heard it then, but I never heard it like live with a bunch of people all doing it together at the same time. It was like,
was this the chants? Was this like the Buddhist chants?
yeah. And then once I got in there and I learned and I was just listening to their testimonies and things and such forth, and it was kind of interesting, and I took on that faith, that practice, and I utilized that in my life, and I see a significant difference with their the mind, body, and soul connections with the universe type thing. Not just
now. What do you find was the difference between before and after? Like the before and after, how did you deal with things prior to this experience? And what happened after the experience?
I was always reactive before. Reactive, aggressive, angrily aggressive, reactive, angrily reactive.
Now, also too, Dino is a former Olympic hopeful, boxer, and fighter.
Yes, I am. One of the best in the '90s. Was one of the best, but it is.
So now, this is where you come into being a warrior on the physical realm, but you've learned how to be a spiritual warrior as well.
Yeah, more of a, I'm more instead of being reactive, I'm more, just be proactive towards the situation and think about it first and think of the consequences of my actions before anything. You know what I mean? And don't just react all just on point. Just react wildly and stay focused and think. And and then chanting and stuff like that. I don't chant every day like I'm supposed to. You know what I mean? I'm not into the religion aspect of it, but the whole, like I said, the spiritual and mental side of it, it's wonderful. I like it, and then this the teachings of Nietzsche and Shonen and all the ones before him. There's all that stuff is just interesting to me. So, and then the things that you speak of and the things that you taught me the other night, that was kind of awesome as well. So I still feel that energy, you know what I mean? So I just want to keep building on that and keep moving forward, especially with my dream of getting this campaign off the ground and shooting my movie this fall.
Now, also too, Dino's in the process of going through this big, huge project, and being connected and being balanced with your mind, body, and your soul connection is so key, because if you can't stay focused on something, then you're going to lose. You're going to lose things. You're going to forget things. You're not going to be able to stay on point with things.
Right.
That's so important.
You can't let things distract you off get you off your tilt. I mean, off your stool. You can't let nothing knock you off your stool. I was back in the days. I used to let everything just sidetrack me. Any little thing will sidetrack me off I'm trying to get to point B. I'm on point A, and I get knocked off to get to point Z, and I have to go backwards to try to get back to point B. I know that's
right. And wouldn't you say, as a warrior and a fighter, wouldn't you say that the thinking fighter is a lot more successful than the reactive fighter?
Yeah. Thinking fighter. Look at Mayweather, for instance. He's a major thinker in there. In there, he thinks, he dissects his opponent. I only had one professional fight, but if you watched the documentary and you saw my fight at the end of that, I was a thinking fighter. Although from the beginning, when I'll tell you, I was a rage. I used to just go out there and just be wild with it. But now, as you get older and you gain some knowledge, you learn how to, plan and see everything coming at you, make everything come in slow motion, and everything comes. That's what makes you a successful fighter, and not to get hit much.
Yeah.
But if you think too much, if you overly think it, you can get knocked out that way too.
Well, see, there you go. Then that's that imbalance again. And this is why I'm glad that Dino popped in, because it's a perfect example of balance of mind, body, and spirit. If you think too much, your face is going to get punched a lot. If you react too much, then your face is also going to get punched a lot,
right.
And you're probably going to lose.
Right.
But if you're looking at it from a mental standpoint and saying, you know what, I got this. I'm going to put 200% into this, whatever it is, whether it's a fight, whether it's your job, whether it's teaching your kids, whatever it is, getting from the morning to the evening. If you have the right balance of all those parts of you, it's going to be smoother.
Right.
And I can't guarantee that everything's going to be perfect, because
right.
life isn't always perfect. But you notice that now, you being more of a thinking man than a reactive man, do you notice that you're not so anxious? Did you feel a physical? Is your physical well-being a lot better because of it?
Yes, I'm a big time. Exactly. Now I'm bringing that into my fatherhood now. Me being a father and trying to be a father to 3 children right now, daughter and 2 boys, especially this one right here.
And they could drive you crazy, right?
Yeah.
All kids could drive you crazy.
Exactly. So being a father and having patience with that, dealing with attitudes and things and such forth, it's like I said, being a father is new to me and is rough. You know, I mean, I've always been a father, you know, but being an active in life father, you know, it's new to me, and I'm just learning what to do and what not to do in the whole process, you know.
Definitely. And that's important. So there's a perfect example. Someone coming in from a purely physical sport, realizing that his balance between mind, body, and spirit, how that has been so key. And now, you know, he's writing a screenplay. He's a busy guy. He's doing all kinds of really, really great work right now. And you find yourself being, you know, a million times better as a dad, right? Because you're not as reactive as you used to be.
Right. I mean, I had to control. It's all about control. Actually, it's all about control. I mean, everybody. I'm human. Everybody. I mean, there's nobody perfect. Like I said, there's nobody perfect on this. I'm perfectly imperfect.
That's right.
That's what I call myself. I'm very perfectly imperfect. But at the same time, boxing has helped me out in real life. You know, that's why I want to push boxing teach, not push boxing. I want to teach boxing to my son whenever he want to get into that realm, because boxing will give you the discipline. It will teach you how to control your anger. It will teach you how to defend yourself in and outside of the ring.
Exactly.
And just teach you how to be a warrior and how to take care of your body. You know, it'll teach you how to, like you mentioned earlier about your body, taking care of your body. That is essential to life. You know, bathing yourself, keeping food in your body, keep yourself keep your nutritional value. You know what I'm saying? Keep the nice nutrients.
Yeah, and
in
Marissa
body,
in the chat, she's saying, I'm perfectly imperfect. Love, love, love. She's loving that. So, and that's key. There is no perfection. You could only strive to being the best you could be. That's all you can really do. And it's work. You know how that is. Everyone in this room knows how it is. You're never going to have, like, every day isn't going to be paradise, isn't going to be utopia. But how you interact and how you cope with it, that's the key. Because if you let everything get to you, well, it's just going to be a crap show. But if you allow yourself to say, okay, all right, hang on a second, stop, you know, stop this right now. Let me just take a deep breath. And all of a sudden you get, okay, it's better to be part of the solution. And this is part of the thing, it's better to be part of the solution than part of the problem. So if you maintain the part of the solution as opposed to part of the problem, then you're going to find you're going to be able to be better and do better.
Right. And I feel that at one point in my life, I was being a part of a problem. And what the solution was, like I go back to, it was boxing. Boxing was the solution of the problem. So not saying boxing is for everybody, but you can take aspects of boxing and put it into your regular life, like you workouts, because a lot of people use boxing workout not the box, but to get the physical training.
Well, you can do yoga. You can do Tai Chi, like I do Tai Chi. You could do Tai Chi, yoga. You can just take a walk. You can walk your dog. You could take your kids and go to the playground. There are so many different. Think out of the box, people. You're here for a reason. You're here in this room because some part of you wants to think out of the box or be out of the box. So make it happen. Make your life a better life. You can do this. This is so key.
Now, I was saying, if I was the guy that I was before I got into boxing, you probably wouldn't be my friend or my friend, my associate. You probably would look different about me. You probably, he's just another one of them thug guys, you know. He's just one of those lost guys out there.
No, you know what? We probably still would be friends. I'd be like, you know what? You got to stop this punk stuff, and you got to, like, meditate. Let's go somewhere to meditate. I'd probably, I'd be like, I'd take you somewhere and probably say, hey, let's have a chat. For sure. But thank you so much, Dino, for sharing your experience, because it is so key, and it's important. Yeah, like it'd be like an intervention. It'd be like a moon intervention. I'd to see somebody that's in their own way all the time, like if you were reactive, like you were reactive in when you were younger. if someone stopped you earlier on, and again, it's the woulda, shoulda, coulda syndrome. You know what I mean? Hindsight's 20/20. But I'm saying if you had the ability to change your life or be more mindful at a younger age, could you imagine what you could have accomplished? Wow. You know what I mean? So that's key. For sure. But thank you so much for sharing that, Dino. And you got to look out for Dino. You got to follow him. People in this room, follow them. Follow them on Twitter. They are amazing people. They have a lot to share. And this is all about the human connection, human interaction. So have a conversation with somebody.
Thank you for having me on.
Thank you very much for popping in, Dino. I appreciate that. Now, is there anybody else before I close up? I can still have a little bit of the after hours, after show. I just want to keep it pretty concise to a reasonable amount of time. Thank you very much, Dino. And if anyone else wants to share an experience, or if they have a little tidbit or a nugget, a nugget of knowledge, feel free to pop in. And you can share that before we end the recording. Anybody want to pop in? Any other questions? And I want to say I appreciate all of you for coming in and sharing this experience and being part of the conversation, because it's so important. So to summarize this, the better you are for yourself, and not so much in a selfish way, the better you are for who you are. You're trying to improve yourself the best you can. You're better to others. So the more balanced and the more connected, and the more you have that mind, body, spirit connection, the better you are for everybody else, the better you are for the world. So as you heard with Dino's story about him being reactive as opposed to him being now a thinking man fighter. Now he picks his battles. That can make all the difference. And take good care of you. It's so important. This is why I'm doing this. This is so key. The better you take care of yourself, the better you're going to be for everyone else in the world. So I want to thank all of you for coming in. You're welcome to sit in for a while, and we can have an after show. I have no problem with that. I'm going to be closing down the recording, but as a last thought, be yourself, pay it forward, and if you do that, you're going to find so much. You're going to find the world's going to be so much of a better place, and you're going to find yourself in a better place, in a better way, feeling better, probably a couple of pounds lighter. It's just all around a better thing to do. So get rest, take good care of yourself, and hope to see you guys again on the next Insight with Moonshadow next week.